Oh, what's going on, guys? I am such an idiot. I've just recorded a 25-minute long video that I had to edit. Turns out that my mic was on too loud and the whole audio was messed up and distorted. Anyway, take number 2. So today we're talking about UFC 302, which is set to take place this weekend. We've got Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. We've got Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. It's actually a decent... I'd maybe give it a 7 out of 10 for the card. And today, we're going to talk about how Islam Makhachev beats Dustin Poirier on the weekend. And then tomorrow, we'll do a video on how Dustin Poirier can get the fight done. When there's big fights coming up, I always try and do a non-biased video for each fighter and how each fighter could theoretically get the win on the weekend. Now, this is not a predictions video, but you're going to quickly guess by everything I say in this video that I am leaning towards Islam Makhachev in this fight. And so is 80 to 90% of the population, the fight population, that is. Is there anyone out there who thinks that Dustin Poirier is going to win this fight? Because I'm not seeing those comments anywhere. Dustin Poirier, great fighter. I want him to win. Don't get me wrong. I don't want Islam to be the champion. Who wants Islam to be the champion? I want Poirier to be the champion. That'd be amazing. What an absolute story of victory and glory that would be. But we all have to come to terms with the fact that Islam, he's the favourite. He's probably going to get the win. And in this video, we'll break down how he's going to get the job done, or the tools that he has to get the job done. So if you're new to my channel, the way I usually do these videos is I will take the fighter who I'm talking about and we'll watch small little clips, 2 to 5 second clips, or break down frame by frame the techniques of that fighter and what tools they have in their arsenal to get the win done on the weekend. However, I can't do that anymore because that is the reason why I've got 2 copyright strikes on my channel. And if I get one more copyright strike, my channel gets deleted. I've just appealed the strike because I believe the video that I put up for the Usyk and Fury fight, it falls under fair use. It was transformative enough. So I'm going to fight this case, and the outcome is going to be that I'm either going to get sued or the video gets reinstated and the copyright strike gets removed from my channel. Let's see what happens. But if you're a regular viewer of my channel or you're new to the channel, consider dropping a like on the video. Help the channel get through these tough times right now. And I appreciate all your supportive comments. But all this means, guys, is I'm going to have to change the format of the video. I can no longer break down frame by frame, at least not yet until these copyright strikes have gone. Instead, what I'm going to do is we're just going to go off the top of my head and we're going to talk about the advantages that Islam has got on his side for winning this fight. Now, let's take a look at Islam Makhachev. Let's take a look at his record and his stats. So he's 25-1, 1 loss. That loss was in his UFC debut. It was a knockout. Islam Makhachev got knocked out. Crazy. So he's on a 13-fight win streak since that loss. He's got 5 wins by knockouts. You wouldn't think so, but he's not like Khabib. Him and Khabib are very different fighters. He's got 11 wins by submission. Now let's take a look at this for a moment. We have to remember that Islam is going up against a striker in Dustin Poirier. Right, nothing that he hasn't seen before. But look at this stat right here. Striking accuracy, 60%. That's actually fairly high for someone like Islam, who is a wrestler. But I believe this is because he's only just started really putting together the strikes in his last 3-4 fights. So he's through less total strikes, but he's also good enough at his striking to make sure that a higher percentage of those strikes are landing. Think about it. Every 10 shots that he throws, he's landing 6 of them, which you might think, yeah, that's not even that much. But think about it. All the shots that are blocked, slipped, ducked underneath, or shots that even just miss the opponents, only 4 out of 10 of those shots he's missing. Think about how chaotic fights can get. That's actually pretty impressive to be landing 6 out of 10 shots. If you watched me Usyk and Fury predictions, you'll know that I'm taking a little bit more of a numbers-based approach to me predictions and me breakdowns. So that's why I wanted to take a look at these stats. We've also got takedown accuracy, 61%. Now, for someone like Islam, who has got a very takedown heavy approach, a very wrestling based approach, like Khabib, you think that his takedown accuracy would be a little bit higher, maybe in the 80% range. But it's because Islam isn't the type of wrestler where he'll shoot a double leg on you, like George St. Pierre, like a Division 1 All-American wrestler. He hasn't really got that style. He's more of a chain wrestler, where he'll go in for a single leg, work his way up the leg, get into the hip, get you against the cage, then eventually take you down. Maybe you're on your knees, and then he eventually gets the takedown. And in the process of doing so, he might actually have a few unsuccessful attempts because he's not an explosive wrestler. He's more so of a grind you down type type wrestler, but also another good stat is he's got a 91% takedown defense. So I think we can all agree Dustin Poirier is not going to be taking down Islam Makhachev in this fight. Nothing controversial is getting said here. Now, styles make fights. Islam Makhachev's last few fights, let's take a look at them. We got Volkanovski. That was a first round KO head kick. Incredible. Who would have saw that coming? Before that was a 5-round decision against Volkanovski. Islam's striking looked actually pretty good in that fight. Then we had Makhachev versus Oliveira. Makhachev's striking in that looked great. He knocked down Charles Oliveira before submitting him. And this is the thing. Makhachev has got two ways to win this fight. He can either go for the takedown and submit Dustin Poirier, or he can actually get the knockout because Dustin Poirier is going to be expecting the takedowns. Islam is also pretty big at the moment. If we go back to this Dustin Poirier fight, let me pull it up right now so you can see how jacked he was. I wouldn't be surprised if Makhachev is caught taking some sort of secret Russian steroid protocol in the future. The amount that he blew up between his first fight, look at him here, right, this is his first UFC debut. That physique change is pretty ridiculous. And he's got those blown up, capped delts, thick upper chest, all the signs of someone taking steroids. I'm not saying he's taking them. I'm just saying there are some red flags there. That's all I'm saying. But here's the thing. So when he fought Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev held back quite a bit. He's fighting on the back foot these days. He's waiting for counters more so than he is putting the pressure on. Khabib was a pressure fighter where he would pretty much run at his opponent. Makhachev kind of waits for you a bit now. He lets you come in on him, so then the counters are available for him, or at the very least, he can get you with a takedown. I not see this fight between Islam and Dustin Poirier being Islam fighting on the front foot with a pressure-heavy style, and Dustin Poirier on the outside throwing shots. I cannot see that happening. Dustin Poirier doesn't really fight that well on the back foot, so I think what's going to happen in this fight is Dustin Poirier is almost going to take a little bit of a similar style to Charles Oliveira in terms of putting the pressure on Islam. It's the only option that he's got. The only problem with that is Islam's going to catch him. I believe Islam can put Poirier down in the first or second round with a right hook from the Southpaw stance. They're both Southpaws going into this fight, so I don't think we're going to see much kicks. Dustin Poirier doesn't really throw that many kicks anyway. Dustin Poirier's game pretty much boils down to boxing and guillotines. That's it. But Islam has got so many more ways to win the fight. He can take you down and submit you. He can take you down and hold you down and just grind out the fight to a nice, easy decision. Or now he can knock you down or knock you out. I think Islam might be able to actually knock down Dustin Poirier in the first or second round and then submit him. And I believe this because Dustin Poirier has just got one way to win this fight, and that is by knockout. I don't think he's going to get the guillotine. This idea and this narrative that Dustin Poirier's got a really good guillotine, it's a false narrative. He's never won any fight by guillotine. People just say he's got a good guillotine because he catches people in the guillotine quite often, but he's never won by it. So Dustin Poirier caught Khabib in a guillotine in that fight. When was that? 2018, 2019? Yeah, 2019 confirmed. But everyone always ends up getting out of it. I think if we see Dustin Poirier go for the guillotine in this fight, Makhachev is going to ride it out, get out of it, and then just hold Dustin Poirier down entire round and just beat up on him. If Islam doesn't go for the submission, that is. I don't like the fact that Dustin Poirier sometimes gets put down on his back, gets taken down, and then because he feels comfortable off his back, it's almost like he accepts staying there. Almost like Charles Oliveira a bit. Because Charles Oliveira is pretty comfortable off his back, he will happily stay on the ground, and Dustin Poirier, he's got a decent jiu-jitsu game, but when have we ever seen it pay off for him? I think what we're going to see is Dustin Poirier put on a little bit of pressure onto Islam. It might not be that much, but I think he's going to be on the front foot. He's going to think that Islam is not going to be able to fight as well on his back foot. Poirier is just going to keep him at the end of the jab so he can time the takedown with a nice uppercut. But I think Islam's counter-striking game is coming on leaps and bounds with every single fight. I think Islam will put Poirier down with a right hook or a left straight, and then he'll latch up a choke on Dustin Poirier and get him out of there in the first or second round. This is not meant to be a predictions video, by the way, but I mean, as you can see, it's turning into a predictions video. I'm going to do my full predictions video for the full fight card Thursday this week with a little bit more of me detailed predictions. And also, I will say this, my decisions and my predictions could change between now and then. So don't just watch this video and then on Sunday morning come onto my channel and be like, "Ha, you was wrong, Shaun," without watching that full predictions video. because sometimes I change my mind as the fight gets closer. Now, I've seen a few people talking about how Islam has got the potential to head kick KO Dustin Poirier, but I don't think that's the case, and the reason being is because both Islam and Dustin are Southpaw. When you're both in the same stance, that head kick off the back leg is harder to land, because let me actually just show you right here. If I've got my right foot forward and you've got your right foot forward, when you throw your left leg up here to my head, it's easier for me to block, and it's harder for you to land the head kick because it's got to come up and over me back and over me shoulder and catch me here, which is, as I say, very easy to block like this. Whereas if I'm in Southpaw and you're in orthodox, your back leg is now on that side and would come up to this side of me head. And we've seen it with Alexander Volkanovski. Islam threw his back leg high kick, so off his left leg. And Volkanovski, because he's in the orthodox stance, went to block it like this, and it came over his guard and clipped him on the top of the head, and he leaned into it a bit. They're both in Southpaw, so that head kick isn't available for Islam. And Dustin Poirier does not throw any kicks. As I said earlier, he just throws punches and jumps for guillotines. So how does Islam get the job done on Saturday night? I think if Dustin Poirier puts a little bit of pressure on Islam, I think Islam is going to be able to counter Dustin's boxing with a big, hard shot. You could argue that Islam has got more power than Dustin Poirier. Now, Dustin's got a lot more knockouts, but Islam's looking big. And don't forget, we are just starting to see the beginning, the seeds, the inception of Islam's striking. We are still in the very early stages before we see the peak of it. So I'm predicting that we're going to see some really good striking by Islam in this fight, and he's going to be able to catch Dustin Poirier as Dustin comes in, trying to close that distance to get the knockout himself. And then when Islam knocks Dustin Poirier down, he's going to get a submission, let's say a guillotine. What do you guys think of this assessment? Threw me off a little bit today, not being able to go frame by frame through some of the best moments of Islam's fights, but I've just got to adjust this new way of doing things. I went off the top of my head a bit more today. It also didn't help that I've messed up my previous take that was 25 minutes long. But what do you guys think? How do you think Islam is going to get the win on the weekend? So try not to just comment something like Islam for the win. Try and comment how you think he's going to get the job done. It makes it a little bit more interesting trying to come up with a prediction then. And then tomorrow we'll do a version of this for Dustin Poirier, talking about the weapons that he has available in order to beat Islam. And then we'll do the full cards breakdown on Thursday then. I'm not going to be able to go live for this one, unfortunately. It's my birthday weekend. Go, Shawnee. It's your birthday. We go and party like it's your birthday. But we'll still do all the build-up, and then I'll most likely do a reaction to the full fight card on Sunday, if I'm not too hungover. Okay, I appreciate you all tuning in. I appreciate all the supportive comments. Thank you so much. I read them all. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow.